All right. I am back in Destiny 2 trying to dress my hunter. I'm trying to find that incandescent cape that goes with this. Which one is it? That one's kind of. It's not bad. If I shade it right. Okay, hold on. Usually give them all the same shader. Hold up. 7. No. It's kind of audacious. Okay, I like that. That'll work. Okay, now for the weapons. Let's see. So yeah, the Republican debate is going on like right now. I have no interest in it. I will definitely devour all of the coverage tomorrow. Let's see what this gives me. I don't get why I can't find my weapons in here. Okay, that explains it. I'm basically looking for the wrong thing. I see it now. It's so weird. Why is it doing that? Okay. Why is this not showing up on my hunter? I don't get that. We edit it. That's why I somehow turned off the any class option on that loadout. Okay, well, it's not exactly what I'm looking for, but uh, compare. Here we go. Oh yeah, I got the new aspect. Okay. Yeah, I mean, making a tangle based build, kind of. um, where do I want to take this? I mean, I can. I think if. Oh, I still have strikes. Um, I needed that. It says kinetic scout, huh? Let's start with that. I have way too many weapons. It's just what the hell? Yeah, it's a pretty good scout, and supposed to get sniper rifle kills, but it's like that's some of the most annoying shit ever. Um, let's play some strikes. Uh, let's see. Okay, so I can make this one kinetic. This is strike. Okay. So I'm gonna watch a few videos on my phone. See what I got.
There are 4 universal rules that govern all conversation. Violating these rules can cause everything from a slight social taboo to outright catastrophe, and in the next couple of minutes, we're going to cover all of them. These rules are called Grice's maxims, named after the linguist Paul Grice, who formalized this concept in the mid-1970s. The first rule, which we call the maxim of quantity, says that when you are speaking, you should provide only enough information to convey the idea which you are attempting to convey, but importantly, no more and no less. An example of breaking the maxim of quantity by providing too little information might look like this. Hey man, is that your blood? It's somebody's blood. The statement, it's somebody's blood, is technically true. It's my blood, I am somebody, therefore deductively it is somebody's blood. However, the question that was asked is that your blood? And the information provided is not enough to answer that question, therefore it's suspicious. An example of doing the same thing but providing too much information might look like this. Hey man, thanks for coming over. Would you like a glass of water? Yeah, that'd be great, thank you. Here you go, man, here's your water, and I promise I did not piss in that cup. Again, that information is totally true. I didn't piss in the cup. But providing that information signals to my conversational interlocutor that that is somehow information that they needed, aka I might have pissed in the cup. The second rule, called the maxim of quality, is much simpler. Don't lie and provide the best information that you have access to. We don't really need an example for this one, but one interesting thing to point out here is that sometimes we do say things that are untrue, but then we use body language, tone, and other forms of nonverbal communication in order to signal to our conversational partner that the thing that we're saying is intended to be read humorously or in a different light. A good example of that would be being sarcastic. The third rule is called the maxim of relation, and this one's also very simple. It means that whatever information that I'm providing should have been relevant to the last thing that you said or the thing that we're generally talking about. For example, if a police officer were to ask me how many drinks I had tonight and I were to respond 5 or 6, it is inferred through the maxim of relation that the answer 5 or 6 pertains to the question, how many drinks have you had last night? Not the question I was thinking about in my head, which is, how many cats do I think I could realistically take on at the same time in a fight? The fourth and final rule is called the maxim of manner, and this one simply says that when you are speaking to somebody, you should be as precise and understandable as you are capable of being within reason. An example of breaking this rule is the kind of speech that Jordan Peterson frequently uses, where you take seemingly simple information and then you load it in such ambiguous and academic terminology that it sounds more profound or less precise than it actually is. For example, in plain English, I could tell you, I don't like room temperature water. Violating the maxim of manner, that same sentence could be said something like, with regards to the realm of personal predilections pertaining to the intake of dihydrogen monoxide, I have an atavistic aversion bordering on antipathy towards the consumption of any such liquid, which at the time it is presented to me manifests as the ambient thermodynamic equilibrium, colloquially referred to as room temperature. So those are the 4 rules, and it's worth noting that all of them are generalizations, meaning for the majority of conversations, the majority of the time, these rules are going to hold true. But there will, of course, always be examples where we either intentionally or unintentionally break these rules. And when that happens, the consequences can be interesting.
That was interesting.
I've really been diving into the heroine's journey lately. Stay with me on this one. Many of us have heard of the hero's journey. A lot of our favorite movies kind of follow this timeline. The hero is in the world of the ordinary. This is like Harry Potter under the stairs. There's a call to adventure. You're a wizard, Harry. There's a refusal of the call. I'm not a wizard. I'm just Harry. There's crossing the threshold. My favorite quote from that kind of does crossing the threshold is Samwise saying, if I take one more step, I'll be the furthest from home I've ever been. You meet the mentor. It's usually like a Gandalf, Dumbledore, Yoda kind of character. Adventure, friends, enemies, allies, deepest, darkest cave, transformation, gift, take that gift back to the community. It's this message to men that is in our very psyche from our ancestors to take a journey, let it change you, and bring those gifts back to the community. The heroine's journey is different. Where the hero's journey stops, the heroine's journey keeps going. So for the heroine's journey, there's a problem. There's a problem that has to be solved, and there's a separation from the feminine. I'll use Mulan for this example. There's a problem with her dad going to war. She has to leave home. You leave the womb in protection of your mother, and you venture off to change something. And you kind of take on the masculine as you're doing so. So for Mulan, she learns to fight. She takes on masculine values of the society that she's in. Just like the hero's journey, there's there's a gathering of allies, there's a road of trials. And then something that's really interesting is that the women in these stories are often successful. Like, she really does the thing that she wanted to do. For Mulan, she really does save the day and become a great soldier. And then something happens where the female got the job, she changed the thing, she did it, and there's still a sense of like a spiritual desert, that she's not happy, that she's burned out. Then in the story, there's an initiation or a descent into the goddess. For Mulan, it is literally having her fellow soldiers see that she has boobs and her gender is revealed. For men in the hero's journey, they often have to face their father, like Simba's running from his problems, but he goes into his deepest, darkest cave through a dark tunnel, guided by the mentor, which is the monkey, in order to face his father. And his father says, you know, you are more than what you have become. But the heroine's journey is a descent into the goddess and an urgent yearning to reconnect with the feminine. Reconnecting with the feminine leads to a healing of the mother-daughter split. We can see this in the movie with Mulan kind of reconciling with her mother and grandmother. This then leads to healing the wounded masculine, which we can see when she reconciles with her father, and her father kind of sees her for all that she's become. And so at the end of the heroine's journey, it's a healing of the wounded feminine and the wounded masculine, and full integration of masculine and feminine at the end of the heroine's journey. So she's accepted by both because of the person that she's become. This is when you have the full power of the crone. These are the women in my life who they can speak strong in the face of power. They can go out into the world and do amazing things. They can take on masculine energy and do things out in the world that require strength and power. And then there's also an acceptance of the sacredness of breastfeeding, or the creative energy of the feminine, the power of the earth for renewal. When the healed masculine and the healed feminine come together, it is life. It's life itself. So for me, I felt a call in the past few years to return to the feminine. My mom and I were estranged when I was a teenager, but she lives with me now. I used to write philosophy and do it kind of how men do it in ivory towers, which is this language that shows that you're intellectually superior, and really heavy footnotes to kind of build up authority in what you say. And now my writing is just me saying what I want to say simply and clearly from the heart. It's much more feminine. I would check in with the hero's journey and movies that show this timeline. Barbie does this too, just to really check in what's calling your soul lately, because the heroine's journey really begins when the hero's journey ends. And we need women who have healed the masculine and the feminine within them, because that may be the only way that we can really heal the world.
Hmm. It's kind of interesting. I don't know. The the tangles dealing damage. I mean, I want them to do something. The swarmers are definitely the best version of that, but the Titan one giving you woven mail, that's pretty cool. But I should be using a void weapon. Huh. Oh, that's one of the new fusions. Yeah, I can't use that. That could be good. I think I already got the scout rifle kills, so although I still got some for this triumph here. It's not that many left, yeah. Hmm. Yeah, that's the only other void, not void, the only other strand scout rifle that I have is one with gunshot. What is it? Um, gunshot straight, something like that. This is the damage bonus for dealing body damage, but you lose aim assist. I don't like losing aim assist. And it's a lightweight scout, which is just not as good. I'm not good at that at all. It's kind of neat. Oh, there we go. I do like this scout. It's pretty good. I mean, it's basically the same as that one I had in the energy slot. Can't remember the name of it. It was rare that precision frame. Yeah. I really did like the Final Shape Showcase. Of course, I always like their showcases. I don't know. But it was interesting going into this showcase. I thought about how more tolerant I am of other people's negative feedback on it. Because I mean, it does make the game better, when people voice their concerns and complaints and everything. Um, yeah,
So, sex scene discourse is happening again. And the crux of this conversation when it happens is that there are a lot of seemingly young people on the internet who view like sex scenes in general as exploitative first, as unnecessary, gratuitous, and a lot of times even predatory. Now, I think just like with most discourse that ends up happening on the internet, this conversation started from a place that was like really well intentioned. And I think there are like good points being made. I just think that like most discourse on the internet, it's overall lacking nuance. And I do have some issues with it. I also think that just observationally, it says a lot of kind of sad things about where we're moving as a society, and particularly like young people's ability to connect with one another. I think it's also important to remember that a lot of these like takes we see on the internet that start huge discourse are genuinely like teenagers who still live with their parents. And that's going to color their entire worldview. Like, I think it's very, very different watching a film that has intimacy scenes when your parents are literally sitting right next to you and you're a teenager in high school versus any other context, you know? So I think that a lot of times discourse gets blown out of proportion all on its own because we're taking at face value things that have a lot more context behind them. That said, I think there is space in the conversation to acknowledge that there can be projects that feel very gratuitous and exploitative in like the nudity and the kind of sex scenes that they choose to show. I don't even want to say intimacy because a lot of times these conversations center around assault and the treatment and abuse of women in media, which I think is absolutely valid to be upset about and talk about. Where people generally lose me is when the conversation shifts to sex scenes as a whole are bad and never beneficial to the story, because I think that that is a really reductive way to look at how we depict human relationships. Sex is a very important and natural part of life, and it's integral to the way our relationships, our specifically romantic relationships, form. Whether or not you're telling like a very intimate love story, or if you're just depicting people having sex with each other in a more casual setting, like that kind of storytelling tells you a lot about the characters, not just like actual story points, but emotionally. Like I think it's a very valid and important way to express character growth and development. I just think it's interesting because in a world that's becoming increasingly more isolated, like physically, but we also more publicly perform our identities in this kind of like digital format. And a big part of that is illustrating our morality. I don't know. It's a little bit concerning to see so much of it, like the shame around sex coming into play in this kind of capacity. There've just been a lot of instances where it starts to feel like puritanical and like pushing this idea that sex is inherently shameful, which I think is kind of unfortunate. And all this to say, like, of course, not all art needs to be for everybody. It's okay if it's not your thing. But I just think the way that the general conversations are going speak to like larger trends in our society that are a little concerning.
Yeah.
So I realized anthropophobia and misanthropy are completely different things. And it's really important to make this distinction because what I think is coming in the future with the aliens and with the AI is a politicized use of anthropophobic, which speaks to the aliens or the AI wanting to take over humanity and strip us of our whatever God-given power or something like that. And it's going to be like this interesting moment where we're talking about like anti-machine and human beings become vulnerable to advanced technology, even though we've been ones that made the planet vulnerable to our advanced technology anyway.
The fuck is he talking about? I think I know what he's talking about, but like his use of words, just large words thrown in for no reason. I don't know.
There are only two kinds of people who do not experience painful emotions. The first kind are the psychopaths. The second kind are dead. There is a false understanding or expectation that a happy life means being happy all the time. No, learning to accept and even embrace painful emotions is an important part of a happy life, and the study of painful emotions is an important part of the field of happiness studies. My name is Tal Ben-Shahar. I'm a student and teacher in the field of happiness studies, and my most recent book is Happier No Matter What. There is a very important concept that was introduced by Nassim Taleb, and that is anti-fragility. Anti-fragility is essentially resilience 2.0. Resilience 1.0 is when we put pressure on a system. After the pressure is lifted, that system goes back to its original form. Anti-fragility takes this idea a step further. You put pressure on a system, it actually grows bigger, stronger. We see anti-fragile systems all around us and within us. For example, our muscular system. We go to the gym and we lift weights. We're putting pressure on our muscles. There are only two kinds of people who do not
This video is sponsored by Endel. 1. There's something deeply wrong with you. Most likely, lots of things. You almost certainly possess traits and tendencies central to who you are that are unbelievably irritating to not only you, but also to everyone who knows you, everyone who ever has. Worse, you're likely not even aware of a lot of it, and you likely never will be. Not really. You'll never know how you really are from the outside, what it's really like to experience you from the perspective of somebody else. Whether it's a smell or a tendency to interrupt or something much worse, the reasons for why certain people have and why certain people will distance from you, leave you, hate you, are often things you don't fully know and perhaps can never fully know. Often, they're things you can never fully fix. 2. You will never be understood by anyone. There are so many things that no one will ever know about you. There will be thoughts and desires, secrets that you take to the grave with you out of choice, out of fear. There will also be feelings and experiences and perceptions that you take to the grave with you out of the mere impossibility of ever communicating them. Your whole experience of everything, what and how everything is for you, nothing else will ever know. Only one thing can ever traverse the same track of time and space in the universe, and you are wholly and forever alone on yours. Forever alone in your head, in your mind, in your red, in your blue, in your sadness, in your pleasure, and in your truth. 3. You will never fully know yourself. So much of us is hidden from ourselves by ourselves. What are the actual sources of our thoughts, our desires, our fears, our dreams, our actions? The unconscious mind is a solvent that all our experiences and genetics are constantly stirred in and dissolved away into. We are the single solution where no individual component is ever clear or tangible. To know what our essence really is, as a whole, the sum of all our parts, what we really want, what we really believe, who we really are, takes a lifetime, and a lifetime kills you. 4. Nothing is what it seems. Consciousness has given us a front row seat to the show of everything, but it's a magic show, and the illusions are really good. 5. So much of life is chance, perhaps all of it. Who you are, what you think and believe, how much you have or don't have, how much you will or won't, where you'll end up. Everything is a product of where and when you were born, who you were born to, what brain and body you were born with, and all the things you have encountered ever since. Who else can be credited for anything other than the odds? Free will and control are illusions we cling to justify our pride. 6. Happiness will never come. Not in the form most of us have been told it will. Not in the form most of us are hoping it will. There will never be a time where everything is finally perfect and nothing ever hurts, where the world is in harmony, free from chaos and tragedy, where we are at peace, free from desire and yearn. Life is mostly a cycle between boredom and anxiety. No amount of fame, wealth, control, esteem, family, or friends will ever solve that. Whatever is missing, it's missing in us, the very condition of our being. 7. You will be replaced by others, by technology, by progress. The days when you had to explain how things work to those older than you will soon become the days when you will need the explaining. Perhaps those days are already here. Soon, the explaining will be futile. At some point, you won't be important in the ways you once were, in the ways you once longed and fought for. 8. You will be forgotten. You already have been, by past friends and colleagues. You will continue to be, by everyone. Eventually, one by one, memories of you will shrivel up with the decaying minds of those who once knew and loved you. Along with them, the last remaining traces of you will wash away as if you never even existed. No matter who you are, the great enveloping cosmic dark clears the shores of all traces of past beachgoers. 9. No real story ends well. Happy endings exist solely to compensate for the fact that in real life, there are none. Things will go wrong. Things will remain unresolved. No one makes it out alive. Nothing makes it out intact. 10. In all likeliness, when your story ends, it is the end. But your story hasn't ended yet. And despite all that was just mentioned, you don't want it to. Despite it all, we want to continue. We want to rebel against the absurdity of it all, to find meaning and beauty in it all. And we do. There's something in us so much stronger than all of these truths, and it is found within each of them, a poignant but vital embodiment of the human spirit. The fact that we can not only endure them, but we can invert them into beauty and triumph. If you know you'll be forgotten, you can decide to live for right now while you're still here. If you will be replaced, then right now you are, or at some point you were, important. If you know there is no end game, no final peace or success or happiness to strive for, then you can search for and find reason and potency in all the stages of life along the way. In the moments between boredom and anxiety, there is achievement, there is a sense of purpose, there is fuel to keep going, there is opportunity for grace. If you know life is essentially luck, if you are watching or reading this right now, you can appreciate the likely good amount you've had. Existing as a human in the first place, able to contemplate the odds at all, is perhaps one of the least likely things to ever get a chance to do in the universe. And while you're here, even if you know you'll never fully understand anything, including yourself, you can know that there is an ever-changing self and an ever-mysterious world to constantly explore and delve into, always capable of surprising you, of entertaining and mystifying you. A magic show of everything from a unique seat in the house reserved exclusively for you, for all of eternity. Understandably, the intensity of all this breaks everyone to some degree. How could there not be something wrong with you? There is something wrong with everyone. But through unwavering honesty, expression, support, and effort, we can connect with each other over these very truths. This video was sponsored by Endel. Understandably, the complexness and darkness in life can often be overwhelming. This overwhelm can manifest in the form of stress, anxiety, rumination, difficulty sleeping, and so on. One tool, however, that is incredibly powerful in modulating and improving our state of mind is audio. But the audio we consume is notoriously difficult to control itself. Playlists on streaming platforms or YouTube are often inconsistent, interrupted, and rarely what our mind actually needs. Endel is an app that completely solves this problem by providing personalized soundscapes that are exactly what our mind needs when it needs it. Using patented AI-powered technology, Endel adapts to you and your environment in real time. Inputs like location, weather, heart rate, and your unique circadian rhythm are all utilized to provide totally personalized soundscape experiences that are the most effective and relevant to you. In those late nights when all those thoughts that you ignored during the day come back to find you, Endel is the perfect shield. Using soft, gentle sounds, Endel helps calm and comfort the mind to sleep. Endel's soundscapes are also great for cutting through negative and distracting thoughts during the day, so to better focus, manage tasks, and handle stress. A recent survey revealed that many Endel users have found success managing symptoms like anxiety and sleep disorders by using Endel. And according to brainwave studies, engineered soundscapes that are personalized to individuals provide the fastest and most consistent focus as opposed to playlists on streaming platforms. If you want to better utilize the power of audio yourself, download Endel using the link in the description. The first 100 people who do will receive a free week of audio experiences. And of course, as always, thank you so much for watching in general, and see you next video.
news the other day while I'm bitter. But then I took a step back. Not literally, of course, but I really thought about it. And I came to the conclusion that nothing in life really matters. Here's why. The Earth has been around for 4.5 billion years. One day, humans became a thing, and we became conscious. This world seemed perfect for us. It wasn't scorching hot, it wasn't deathly cold. We fit right in the middle. The gravity on Earth was perfect. It allowed us to move and run and catch animals that conveniently existed for us humans to eat. There was water to drink. There was oxygen to breathe. It's as if we were put here for a reason. We began creating things. We began working together as a species, building empires, covering the planet, and fighting each other for whatever reason. Fast forward a couple million years, and here we are today. Computers, rockets, Elon Musk, they're all here. Somewhere along the line, we also, in a way, created something out of nothing. It's called time. We've laid out definitions of time, seconds, minutes, hours, years, but it doesn't really matter. We made those for our own use. Time is nothing more than a way to measure the passing of events. But we've only really set up these units of time based off of ourselves. A day is how long it takes the Earth to spin around once. A month is about how long it takes the moon to orbit the Earth, and also spin around once. A year is how long it takes the Earth to orbit the sun once. You get about 78 Earth revolutions around the sun in this journey called life. As poetic as that sounds, there's not much scale to these things once we pass a human lifetime. Sure, we can judge how long 1,000 or maybe even 10,000 years are. But after that, the timescales of things are just too much for our brains to handle. As much as you think you understand the 13.8 billion year lifespan of the universe, you really can't put that into an imaginable scale. On the scale of a human life, the universe is unbelievably old. But in terms of the universe's lifespan, pretty much nothing has happened yet. It's barely even started. We can make predictions about the next hundreds of trillions of years of the universe's life. We can figure out how and when our sun is going to blow up. We can figure out when our galaxy is going to collide with another. We can come up with theories that describe why the universe we've been put into is expanding faster than anything else physically possible. But yet, we have zero idea what happened in the fraction of a second between when there was nothing and when there was something. For some reason, as far as we can tell, we're the only conscious beings to have ever existed. But we don't even know what being conscious is. We developed consciousness only to be aware of the fact that nothing else is. We've grown so aware of our surroundings that the smarter we get, the smaller we become. As this thing we call time goes on, we begin to realize things. Things that prove that the universe probably wasn't made just for us. You were most likely born in a hospital. If not, props to you for making it this far. Back then, you were your parents' entire world for a small time, which is cute, but you aren't everything. 360,000 people are born each day. Of all of those people with the same birthday, some are going to do big things and change the world. Others are just gonna die. That just happens. But Earth is just one planet. In our solar system, there's 8. Or 9 of those. For now, for life as we know it to exist, it's kind of hard to believe that there might be other life out there. It takes so much to happen for us to be able to exist. We've discovered over 4,000 exoplanets to date, planets that don't revolve around our sun, and we've found multiple examples of Earth-like planets. Roughly the same shape, size, temperature, but yet there's nothing there from what we can tell. So if there are so many planets that could have life, why haven't we seen it yet? Why are there no signs? Well, we're just one solar system in an entire galaxy. There's over 200 billion stars in our galaxy alone. But that's just one galaxy. We're a part of the Local Group, which is a collection of 30 galaxies near our own. Andromeda is one of them. That's the one that's going to collide with our galaxy in about 4.5 billion years. By then, you'll be long gone. And soon after that, so will the Earth. The Sun at this point will be reaching the end of its life. It's going to expand in size, and by the end, it will completely consume the Earth, shining over 3,000 times brighter than it does today. But even though our home planet will be gone, the rest of the galaxy wouldn't even notice. Billions of years on a multi-trillion year timescale is truly nothing. But even so, there are some things that we're observing in the universe's infancy today that will drastically influence the far future. To keep it short, the universe is expanding. This is nothing new. A lot of people know this, but what many people don't know is that this expansion is speeding up. Now, we don't know why, but we have an idea of what's causing it. Dark energy. I made an entire video about this, so go watch that after. This dark energy is stretching the fabric of space-time. We don't know what it's made from. We know it's there, we observe its results, but we don't know exactly what it is, or what it's going to do. Dark energy, at least according to our current calculations, will eventually stretch the space-time between galaxies faster than the speed of light. The light emitting from our neighboring galaxies will travel towards us at the fastest speed possible. But even this won't be enough. The light will never reach us because the space between it is stretching faster than the light that is traveling through it. It will spread the universe so thin with galaxies that when we look out to observe what's around us, we won't see anything. We're going to end up all alone, confined to whatever galaxy we end up in. But in the end, even our galaxy will start to go dark. The fate of the sun is the same as it is for all stars in the universe. Eventually, trillions of years down the road, these lights in the sky are going to begin turning off, one by one by one. Without any new stars to keep things running, the universe is going to get a bit colder. Depending on their size, these dying stars begin to turn into white dwarfs or neutron stars, providing the last glimmers of light in a cold and dark universe. This is the very last hope for any surviving life forms in the universe. But eventually, trillions of more years after the last stars like our sun die, even these white dwarfs will begin to dim out. Some of these neutron stars roaming throughout the universe may collide by chance, resulting in the brightest known events in the entire universe: supernovae. But once these supernovae conclude, the universe is again plunged into darkness. All matter that used to make up the galaxies we see today will begin to fall into the black holes that kept things held together for so long. The Big Bang that created the highest temperatures ever known to physics ultimately results in the most dormant, dark, and cold configuration possible. From a universe teeming with light and beauty to a cold, barren wasteland. A universe dominated by black holes. But even now, the universe has just begun. These black holes are going to be around for a while, and the things we used to call galaxies, with stars and planets and life, are now just going to be full of black holes, and more black holes. This is how the universe is going to spend most of its time. Cold, dark, and alone. We're no longer talking about millions of years here. The timescales are now on quadrillions of years. But even these black holes won't last forever. Through Hawking radiation, these black holes will slowly, very slowly, begin to evaporate away, one subatomic particle at a time, until eventually, after all the black holes fade out of existence, there is nothing left in the universe. A universe where nothing changes, where time becomes pointless. There's nothing. The nothingness of space, though, will continue to expand because of dark energy, a force that accounts for 70% of our universe that we don't even completely understand yet. Matter as we know it today, the things that make up everything you see, only accounts for barely 4% of the stuff in the universe. So maybe, just maybe, we're a fluke. We were never supposed to make it to the end, but we still have a role to play out today. We are one species on one planet, in one galaxy, in an almost indistinguishable part of the universe. Whether or not we came to exist, not much would be different. Every day we matter a little less, and a little less, until eventually we realize that, in the grand scheme of things, we don't matter at all. Our galaxy could just disappear. It wouldn't really change much. We came to exist in such a weird time, but it's also pretty unique. We know we're just the beginning, a blip in the universe's potential, but the only way to fulfill that potential is to start making progress today. It's not a stretch to say that there won't be others like us, random spurts of intelligent life spread throughout trillions of years. But now, we're at one of those stages where life is possible. and probably the easiest it's ever going to be. You get one life to do whatever you want. There are some things you can avoid, like school or taxes. But other than that, you're free to do mostly whatever you'd like. If we can't figure out our purpose for coming to exist on this planet, if we can't figure out why or how the universe came into being, then our purpose is whatever we want it to be. If you want to sit around and play games all day, there are people doing that. If you want to build a multi-billion-dollar company that's going to help propel humanity to other worlds, there are people doing that as well. Anything you want to be or do can be done, and should be done. Like I said, our own purpose is whatever we want. Right now, if good things are happening to you, if bad things are happening to you, it's actually not going to last forever. You have zero idea what the future holds for you, and the most random of experiences can reroute your future in an instant. Everyone was dealt a hand in life that we honestly just didn't ask for. Some people's hands are better than others, but we all have to play with the cards we've been given in the best way we can. There's a chance that we humans may never figure out why everything in the universe acts the way it does. Is there life anywhere else, or are we the exception? For every answer, 100 new questions pop up. There's infinite possibilities as to how we came to exist, but there's infinitely just as many things to do while we're figuring that out. There's dogs to feed, there's people to meet, there's science to be done. So whatever you do while we figure out our spot in the universe, this universe at least, just try to enjoy it. Because no matter what happens to you, no matter how many times you mess up, no matter how far humanity ventures out into the unknown, in the end, it doesn't even matter.
Mhm.
In 1970,
Okay. Ooh, yeah, I definitely want to get a strain hand cannon. sure. It's adaptive frame, which is pretty good. Okay. Okay, it's another key. Guess I'll unlock these. Yeah, let's do another Seventh Inspire. What the fuck? Just got gunned down.
Transcendental about romantic love can be available in friendships.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually quite conservative a project to say, put all of your eggs in one basket, rely on one person to give you that kind of emotional care and proximity. I've seen so many examples in my life of how friendship actually allows us to practice how to learn how to be lovable. Every single thing I was taught was to minimize myself, invisibilize myself, disappear, quiver. And then I met other queer people who had the audacity to love me and to give me permission to love myself. And I think that what we do in a culture of romantic supremacy is we put that sort of like temporary high, that deep ritualized elegance put into all of our pop songs and movies on this plane, like it's some sort of zenith of being. But when I think about the most romantic scene, it's me and all of my friends at dinner. It's being able to unfurl. What friendship has continually clarified for me is that I get to change. And when it comes to my family, I'm always going to be their child. When it comes to a romantic partner, I'm always going to be the romantic partner. But what's interesting about friendship is the elasticity, the ability to shift over lifetimes.
There's a door there. I don't know how to open. So I have to get the guide whenever someone has it worked out. See, maybe he's waiting on someone else to come in. Hmm. Oh, yeah. It's telling me to use a key. Oh, yeah, we got a third. Cool. Okay. Oh, yeah, there we go. They're showing me the crystals now. Oh, that's not good. I'm just dying. Uh-oh. Can't remember what it was. I think it's that one. Yeah, okay. This elevator always fucking kills me. Like, why the fuck is it doing that? If I didn't have that overshield, like, I'm pretty sure I'd just be dead, but that was pretty fun. Yeah, I really love the Hive lore. It just looks so fucking cool. Like the architecture of the Hive, this sort of weird, dark cathedral shit. It's so cool. Yeah. So, yeah, we had a pretty great hangout tonight. I put a link of it in the description of the video. I just, I am eternally grateful for the camaraderie to have people to talk to about things that bother me. um, I think about that idea of masculinity a lot because, I think I've had those insecurities myself. And that insecurity specifically around musicals, I felt uncomfortable really when like a show or something that wasn't a musical became one, when they had like a musical episode, I'd be like, I like it, but I should be watching this. It's just something ingrained in me. It's really weird. But eventually I came to love musicals. I did. Wish I had learned sooner, but you know, such is life. But yeah. On that note, I think I'm going to call it a night. I didn't realize I'd been streaming that long, mainly because I didn't get started till late. So, anyhow, thank you for watching. I will catch you in the next one. Peace.